Alright, so let's have a look at some possibilities on the equation editors. And so the big deal is called something called LaTeX. And actually it's got a typo in it. Correctness for outward place, the last letter should be Greek chi. Page layout system and more that typical mathematical fields, and because it happens to be essentially standard for laying out mathematical text, LaTeX is also used in very many equation editors and so on. So if you ever need to write an equation in a text and would like it to look neat and tidy, then you're probably gonna use some form of LaTeX. So it's based on an older system called TE that was developed by Donald Knuth, and from him the last letter is an uppercase G, just to show off that it can do that in regular text. And the history starts as much back in time as 77, when Professor Knuth's publisher changed the layout system that has been used to publish his books, and the formulas, the equations look worse. So Professor Knuth responded in the only sensible way that a computer scientist can do, which is program his own experimental layout system with an experimental programming language. So most commonly we're talking about LaTeX, which is Lamport macros on top of TE. And there's a ton of variants these days, and some variant of that is typically standard in mathematical publishing. So how does it work? If you ever written HTML, that is web pages, in the old-fashioned way, then you write in plain text format and you have formatting commands. So usually these commands are identified by starting with a backslash. So check your keyboard how to type that. It does change in different types of keyboards. In the Finnish keyboard it is Shift plus. And if you ever need to use a backslash sign in LaTeX, then you're gonna type backslash. So it is the backslash command. Braces are used for grouping, adding parameters. So if you need to tell, for example, a fraction command that which part is going to the numerator, which one is the denominator, you use braces. If you ever need to type brace, you'll type L brace for left brace and R brace for right brace. And in some commands you also have options. They are typically going between the command name and the braces, and they're put in the brackets. It says put, probably should be put. To see what the document looks like, in most cases with the LaTeX you will need to compile or do the layout, making traditional systems do output PostScript, which you could then print, or then you could use a PostScript PDF converter to show it as PDF. Then we do have, for example, Moodle formula editor, Microsoft Office formula editor, which do layout one formula at a time, and you see it as soon as you close the formula editor, or in MS Office even you can preview it in the formula editor. Modern LaTeX systems also output PDFs. Typically they skip over the PostScript step. Command commands, okay, within LaTeX, the person sign is typically a command sign. And if you ever need to do a person sign, you will need to escape that by putting the backslash. So backslash person sign types a person sign. If you're doing a proper LaTeX document, you're going to need a document class and document type. For example, document class and option might be 2 paragraph, and document type would be else journal would be making out 2 paragraphs formatted in such a way that it fits in a Elsevier journal, but only if you got the Elsevier journal layout file in the same folder. Or some systems do actually automate that, so they do have the built-in common document types. Then use package name, for example, AMSMath. It includes some American Mathematical Society macros, which gives you more math. Title, if you're doing a conventional document, it probably has a title. So the title command and some text inside the brackets is gonna, or braces, is going to tell that this text should be formatted as the title of the document. Then you do have begin and end parts, so there's an internal structure, so it knows which part should belong together with each other and what level on the document you are. Are you inside a figure or something like that? You should compare it with, if you know HTML at all, hypertext markup language, and that's a bit like tags. More common commands, section and subsection, work a bit like title, but they do mark that there begins a new section or a subsection. No need to finish those sections or subsections with an end. Mostly no need for title as well. End is only when you have begin. Then we have labels, which is an anchor, so you can refer to. So for example, if you have an equation or a figure and you have a label inside that, then you can refer to label. Typically, so inside the braces and label, you have some sort of text identifier name for what it is, and typically we use a fig or egg or something to begin it with, so it's easy to, at a glance, separate different types of references. And also, if you happen to have similar things, you don't need to figure a different name for those, but you can kind of set, for example, if we have a picture of a model and an equation of a model, then the picture is fig and model, and then the equation would be EQ and model. References, so okay, if you type ref and type tag name of the label inside that ref command, then you're gonna have reference to that label. For example, if we had a numbered figure, then that would put a figure number there, and probably also in those templates that support it, a hyperlink, so you could click that number to see the figure. Page ref, reference the page number the label is in, and cite is a specific reference that refers to a literary source that you have included in your bibliography, if it's formatted the right way. Okay, this is something you're not gonna probably do in Moodle. You're gonna have Moodle's own sources for adding images, but for completeness, we're gonna have a look how to add images. So include graphics, and that's not a typo with the X there. Graphics package is the previous one that's pretty much obsolete, and graphics with an X is the new one, which is a drop-in replacement with extra features, and it's being maintained. So typically maintenance in computer systems is important, because if there's bugs in a unmaintained package, then no one's gonna fix them. So as a command, include graphics, and there is no X, so it's because they need to be compatible with each other, and then file name there, and that's gonna include your image. Typically you want to surround it with begin and figure, maybe add a caption, add a label, and if you don't want to be it in its own scale, then you want to have this width option in include graphics command. There are other options as well, so for example, instead of text width, we could have millimeters or whatever we want it to be. It's scaled automatically, so usually you don't use the height option. Equation. So this is what you're hearing this for. So this is for Engineering Mathematics 1, which usually doesn't talk too much about LaTeX, but you might need the equation editor. So lots of formatting is already in LaTeX, so we don't need too many math packages. Some of these is included in Moodle as well, but AMP and symbol is the usual ones which add a lot of symbols. For example, this inline units might be useful on some LaTeX documents, so use the dollar sign, or instead of dollar sign you could use the equation mode in Word. So if you're having that package, it might be and inside braces R, produce a bold R, and if you're using aim it's gonna be actually just double R. In Microsoft Office, that is actually backslash double and capital R, but it doesn't work that way in LaTeX. Begin equation and equation also includes equation mode. So this dollar sign stuff is typically used for inline. If you want to have within text, you want to have some short equations, and then this begin equation, end equation is when you want to have the equation in its own line and numbered in a document. Same thing mostly work inside equation editor in MS Office, but of course you don't need to use the math mode there, because that's what the equation editor already does for you. In Moodle, if you click this advanced mode here, or this more options, then this calculator looking thing is the formula editor. So technically you could also use directly. So Moodle math mode symbol is this backslash open parentheses and with backslash close parentheses, and use some subset of LaTeX. And there's actually a lot more than what's there in the buttons given by the equation editor. Common operator C dot does the dot product sign, times does the cross product sign, superscript is a formatting symbol, so superscripts and also powers, you would do it like that. If you need longer formulas, then you might want to use those braces, and for grouping the formula there, subscript works the same way. Division with the frac, parentheses, if they're on a row, you can use just the parentheses, but if you want to scale for size, just backslash left and parentheses or brackets, and the right parentheses or brackets. And then of course L brace, right brace for braces, because otherwise you need to somehow you will need to probably escape a brace. I've never used that option actually. The left and right also tells it which way that is, so you could, for example, swap them around if you somehow need to, for example, use sets. Integral sign is int. If you want to make a different integral, you can use super and subscripts to put it up and below, so you can use both super and subscript. And then of course if you need to do the derivative sign, you can use a fraction to make the d over dx. Tables, tabular mode, begin table or begin table star, depending on package. So some packages use a different mode depending on what you need. Captions, labels, someone as with images, and then of course the standard way is put the caption above the table and below the figure, and then we activate tabular environment, which is the actual table. So formatting defines how it goes. So lowercase l in the formatting here part is gonna be align left, C is align center, and R is align right. So here's an example: tabular LLL, 5 columns or aligned left. Column change is done with an @ sign, and row change at the end of the column only is with the backslash. Remember to put the end tabular in table. Moodle has also this atop command. If you need, for example, 2 linear equations, then you're gonna do backslash left brace, first thing open grouping with a brace, first thing slash atop, and second thing, and close brace. We're gonna see it in a moment. Source management. Okay, bit there. So reference lists, just different language. You typically your other source management, like for example, Google Scholar allows you to already export already formatted bit there, which you just copy paste in your file, and you don't need to think more about it. And if all the formatting is there, then the actual formatting that tells how to lay out this information will make you a nice reference list with minimal editing, if it works correctly. And citing is that cite and identifier given there in the bit.def file, and that's it. So you add /bibliography command, which tells the bit.def file name, bibliography style, format file, and then the rest should be automatic. Occasionally you want to do the formatting yourself, so we process that file, can't do the layout, and then check the intermediate files and copy paste the results. And then we need to put this begin to bibliography and to bibliography around that readily formatted thing for the main file to understand its bibliography. Okay, lots of this is something. Oh, let's talk about software still. So yeah, just Overleaf, which is standard these days. So if you need to write something, you've got the formatting files, just upload them to Overleaf. You should get an account there, upload them to Overleaf, and you can do really clear looking reports. The paid versions of Overleaf do also support collaborative editing, so several people can edit the document at the same time. Mictech is a local install, the traditional one, which has an editor called TechWorks. And yes, those are X's because usual file names don't know how to type this G, so it's a regular capital X. MS Equation Editor supports a subset of LaTeX as well. So if you use a lot of equations, you can add the Equation Editor button to report ribbon. So right mouse button and customize ribbon, or whatever it is in your native language. If you're using a native language office, in the right hand panel, make a new group, and in that new group, then you're going to add the equation, which shows a bar. I'm going to show on the next slide what I mean with this. This makes, for example, using Greek letters a lot easier. You don't need to pick them from the add symbol part, but you can just write the letter names if you remember what those letters are called in English, paint over with mouse, and then click equation. So this is how it happens in Finnish language. I've added this kaava group, which is Finnish for equation. It says that it's custom, mukautettu. I've added all commands, and then I'm using this version of this equation, which has this bar in it. In MATLAB, we can also use LaTeX in titles and axis labels and text, and also in the text command. Okay, that's a lot. Now we're going to do a few demos in the Microsoft Office Formula Editor, as well as then in our Moodle environment. So let's first grab Word. I'm going to just do an empty document. This might be slightly small because I'm currently using my home computer, which does have a large display. So maybe I really should see if I can scale. Let's see what happens, because it might be that the recording software doesn't really work with this, but we'll see in a moment. So okay, much larger now. I want to add here an equation editor button, so I'm gonna so right mouse button, pick the first option here. I'm gonna add a new group, which is this button. I'm gonna rename it. And over here I'm gonna find all commands. And in Finnish it's an K, in English it's probably under E. So it's the command that looks like a pie. Not a pie you bake, but a Greek thing. There we go, the one with the bar. Add. Okay. And now, for example, if I have type pi and theta, I can do paint that. Well, I use now shift and row keys, and I'm clicking. Okay, there's apparently a shortcut of alt equals sign, at least in Finnish part. So now I'm gonna click the button and plop this convert one. Yeah, professional. Interesting. Why doesn't it work? Okay, I just hit spacebar after that, and now it worked. It should work from this button as well. So there's a bit of a demo effect. Let's see this alt equals sign. No, it doesn't look like it worked. Oh, in Finnish, alt shift 0. There we go. Yep. Okay, so equal sign in Finnish. And just should. I'm gonna change that mode and back. No, it doesn't. Okay. So to understand commands, it needs to this press of a spacebar apparently. Some formatting is changed automatically. So if I had done, for example, e to x and alt equals sign, and now I press the convert, yeah, now it works. But those slash commands apparently needed the press of a space bar after that. Okay, learning new things. Let's see Moodle. Okay, this is our course, and I added a new discussion forum here. So I'm going to test the form editor. I'm going to open up the extra options here, show hide advanced buttons, formula editor, and now here you do have a preview of what the formula is going to look like. You've got lots of these signs here, different kind of arrows, Greek, advanced stuff. So for example, if we want to do integrals, here you can see that this is subscript A, superscript B, and integral of let's say frac. Let's do a bit extra stuff. So I'm gonna use left brace frac. So I could have selected these from the buttons, but I can also do this. So fx and gx, and I'm gonna do a right brace here, and I'm gonna add power. It's a power of 2. And now this should format in such a way that we've got well, we don't want braces here. Let's instead use these regular parentheses. Yeah, and now we need to use right and left. Okay, there we go. And now that formats nicely. So the arrow here in the preview tells at what point our cursor is, and this shows the formatting. So we've had a integral sign a to b, and under parentheses we're having a fraction, and because it's a tall one, we're going to have those parentheses be taller, and our power 2 is there, and well, dx. So that works like that. This should not tell anyone that I've saved that, and it takes half an hour to edit that. So I guess, okay, I'm the moderator here. I guess for my own messages I could also pick remove. Let's see what happened here.